Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Let's talk some college football, and these will be my picks for the Thanksgiving weekend. So appreciate you guys all tuning in. Make sure you stick around to the end of this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Also, we're going to be showing you guys all the data from Outlier. So if you want to know more, check out their 7-day free trial. Links down below. Make sure you guys all sign up with Outlier. I promise you'll like it. And if you don't like it after 7 days, or within 7 days, I should say, cancel that free trial. It's completely a risk-free trial. But Outlier is a easy way to make money. All right. It just simply saves me a lot of time, energy, and allows me to make the best bet possible. Okay. Let's get down into the picks. Appreciate you guys all rock with me here on the channel. We're going to be talking about a lot of games throughout the day, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We do have football as well as some NFL Thanksgiving action that I will have a video posted with my NFL picks. So make sure you have that notification bell turned on so you don't miss a beat when I do drop my NFL content as well. All right, so let's hit it. Like I said, guys, like, comment, and subscribe. Give me a follow on X as well. Handle is in the bottom left. All right, let's dive into the Outlier program where we can look at that first game that we are going to talk about. It's just a lean, okay? I'm going to lean Memphis in this spot, going against the Tulane Green Wave. If you can find Memphis plus 14, that would be a lean that I have. Some of the public betting numbers here, Tulane's taking a little bit more so of the handle. The over is getting a lot more as well, 89%, albeit 77% of the tickets on Memphis at this current moment in time. But Memphis would be the side plus 14 in this matchup, okay? First, we are going to hit some games on the Friday slate, okay? And the first game we're going to talk about is Liberty and Sam Houston. Now, this is one where I do want to talk about because there is a lot of reasons why I do like Sam Houston, okay? I think that right now Liberty is being lucky, not good. And Sam Houston, albeit they did just lose to Jacksonville State 21-11, this is a better spot, okay? I think that Liberty has a lot of injury concerns. Also, Sam Houston getting the 3 points, that field goal cushion. It's one of my bets for the Friday slate that I do like quite a bit. So I'm going to lock in Sam Houston State plus 3 as one of my best bets in this matchup, okay? Next, we're going to go down the board a little bit, talk some football here as we look into the kind of next game after. And the reason why I say that is the Army UTSA game, Saturday noon kickoff. This is one where we're going to be taking UTSA plus 7. If you're able to find the 7.5, great. They're out there. Just make sure you find the best number available. UTSA, though, winning 5-4 out of their 9 games on the season. They have covered 4 of their last 5, so they're trending a little bit in a better direction after, comparing that to the 4-6 ATS that they've had on the season. But this is as we look at Army and the interesting glaring kind of betting trend within this spot. And it's going to be kind of a public dog, in my opinion, but that's because the numbers speak for themselves. Texas San Antonio coming off of a blowout win against North Texas, Memphis, as well as Temple. So they're trending in a good direction. I think they're really playing some good football. I can't believe they're actually getting a field goal going against the Black Knights. And the reason why I say that is because the Black Knights just got blown out with some injuries against Notre Dame. Okay, so they're banged up coming into this game. Notre Dame is not one of those teams that I want to be playing football against right now, especially in that 12-team playoff format. As long as the bracket sets up well, I think Notre Dame is going to be a live kind of value play for taking home the hardware. And I'm a Notre Dame fan, but it's something where I do look into this conversation. I'm not usually the homer. I'm not the domer homer, okay? So it takes a lot for me to say that, and I haven't felt that way in years where I've really felt that Notre Dame, they always have struggled in the postseason, playoff, whatever, before the playoffs, BCS games, even winning those big notable bowl games under Brian Kelly and Charlie Weiss. But now I do see this betting metric lining up where I like them on the futures market. I like them. I've been talking about them for weeks. Ole Miss kind of let me down, but Ole Miss and Notre Dame, SMU is another one. Those are teams that I would not want to play in the postseason. I do think Ohio State's the best team in the country, full disclosure, and I think that's going to be on display this Saturday in that Big Ten kickoff within Michigan in that rivalry. But as they get set to clash, we have to talk about this game at noon on Friday, or on Saturday as well, because the Black Knights, okay, this is going to be very much damning to them, in my opinion. They got absolutely blown out by Notre Dame. Look at that number as we talk about a 49-14 loss. And it really was 49-7. Notre Dame hasn't really given up too many touchdowns in the last, pretty much after that loss to Northern Illinois, that really may have kind of forged their fire, okay? And I think that's kind of, in a 12-team playoff format, maybe looked back as a silver lining and the best thing that actually happened to them, as they really allowed themselves to grow up in real time pretty fast for that young ball club in South Bend. Okay, but the storyline here is teams that have played Notre Dame the following week, okay, they are 0-9-1 against the number that next week, and now that UTSA gets 7 points, one of my favorite bets of the day for Saturday, plus 7.5 is what I took UTSA, and that's kind of where I'm at. So I know Army plays a unique style of football. It's kind of hard to contain and defend. It's also going to limit the possessions and the ability for UTSA to score as well. But I do think that if you do go up on Army, they're very hard to allow themselves to come back from deficit. So I do like UTSA, one of my best bets, plus 7.5. Okay. Next, let's get into some more rivalry games here as we look into the next noon kickoff. And I don't know why they do these games at noon. It kind of bugs me, honestly, because for myself, and I'm sure you guys as well, I like to have a little bit of a run-up, right? I don't like waking up too early. Like to cook, like to smoke food, and, kind of allow yourself to tailgate in a sense after you get your bets in so that you can enjoy your college football Saturdays. But it is what it is. I don't know why. The rumor was with Ohio State, Michigan was if you had the game in prime time, there'd be a lot of arrests and just be kind of a rowdy kind of environment. But same thing applies to South Carolina, Clemson, right? The Battle of South Carolina. For me, guys, this is one where Clemson, I think, is a little bit overvalued, and South Carolina is going to be one of those trendy dogs. Right now, the overwhelming amount of support is on the Gamecocks in terms of the betting handle. These numbers from Outlier are just based off of their numbers, but other platforms I do use have shown a considerable amount of the betting interest versus the ticket count is on South Carolina, both in the money line and the spread. I am going to go into the territory where I do think this could be potentially an under game as well. I have a very strong play on the under 49.5. I like that one quite a bit. But the best bet for me is going to be South Carolina plus 3. I do like it in the sense too where you can do a little same game teaser, if you will. You can take that 54.5 under, couple that with the likes of South Carolina plus 8.5. That's probably going to be a game that I think about doing. I don't like to tease college football, but I do find some angles where maybe you don't like South Carolina covering, but I don't think they lose by more than a touchdown if they do. But I'm still taking South Carolina plus 2.5, plus 3 if you want to find it. Plus 3 will be my best bet. And that's kind of where, as we look into this number a little bit better, the money line is actually kind of available as well as an option for South Carolina. It's huge, right? Clemson is on the verge of either in or out for the 12-team format. And I think that South Carolina, they've really been playing some great football, okay? And they are coming off a 5-game winning streak right now, taking down Missouri, Vanderbilt, Texas A&M, and Oklahoma with ease, okay? Arguably, they did have kind of a hiccup against Missouri. That was one where they should have lost. They ended up winning late 34-30, but I still like South Carolina in this spot, so I'm going to be taking them, and I do lean towards the under 49.5 right there at minus 112. But I think for Dabo and company, South Carolina is going to be hard to defend, and they do play great defense, and it's that whole SEC versus ACC kind of issue. We'll see if the ACC actually gets a team into the format, all right? There is some speculation that Miami could, go down as well. And for me and my money, I will be all in on the South Carolina spread here, getting points here on the road playing Clemson. Next, we are going to do a dedicated video to this as well, a little bit closer to Saturday. I will have that out Friday, but we're going to look into the Big Ten as we talk about Michigan and Ohio State. My fear with the 12-team format was we were always going to have kind of a little bit of a subjectivity towards the end of the season, because right now, if Ohio State would lose this game, they're still going to be in the field of 12. They won't have that first-round bye. And they still won't because as long as Oregon remains unscathed, they will be outside the top 4 due to conference champions having that reservation. So when it comes down to this game, guys, the odds makers in recent time, even with the Indiana game, they have kind of had a lot of respect. I think even in the Oregon game to an extent going on the road, okay? The Buckeyes are a team that Vegas loves, and I think it's with due praise. I think that Ohio State in this matchup, the biggest storyline here is Michigan is trending up. A notable quote from Jim Harbaugh, as he was the old coach at Michigan, you have to be good in 3 phases of the game, okay? And right now, that's kind of where we look at the Michigan storyline, right? Special teams and defense, they do exceedingly well. Offensively, that is kind of where they struggle, okay? So as we look into kind of the Ohio State-Michigan matchup, you kind of have to understand what happens, and I think that Ohio State's offense is great, not good, but they're going against a stout defensive line for Michigan. The only thing that really scares me in this game, and I don't like betting rivalries, so this week kind of does resonate as a stay away more times than not, but I do think that the biggest thing going for me in this rivalry is the fact that Ryan Day showed us with that fake quarterback kneel twice against Indiana last week, albeit his player did give himself up at the 1 or 2 yard line. I do think that Ohio State looks to get some fan points here, okay? We know how the playoff committee works. Margin of victory is a thing, and I think that Ohio State is going to try to run it up on Michigan. The fact is, this total was set at 43.5. I just don't know if we're going to cover the 20.5 inside of the 43.5 unless Michigan's just not able to score. Okay, so that's kind of how I have the game playing out in my head, like a 28-7, 28-6, 31-10, something like that, where I do see Ohio State covering by a slim margin, but Ohio State minus 20 would be my best bet. If you want that 20, you have to wait, okay, because I do think that Michigan is taking a ton of money. We'll see if the number drops to 20, but I think that if we can find a 20, that's where I'm going to dive in on the Buckeyes. If it goes to 21, it might be a stay away, but I do like Ohio State at 20. 20.5, it's a coin flip, okay? And Ohio State could win this game by 40 points for all I know. But the value, I think, with looking at the total projected in this spot, is taking the Buckeyes. I think that they're going to win. You could possibly even bet Michigan team total under. It's a lot of points to give on a rivalry spot, and that's just kind of how I feel about it. But I think that the narrative here is that Ohio State's going to try to run up the score for some style points, and I do think that Michigan, Ohio State, this rivalry is going to take a swing because a lot of times these games are duds. Michigan has had the upper hand in recent years, but the Buckeyes, they're going to have their hands full as Michigan has now secured, albeit just a verbal commitment at this point, the number 1 recruit in the class, incoming class for college football. Shout out to Dave Portnoy and company for securing that. I even heard Tom Brady had a hand in that acquisition. $12 million plus incentives, absolutely nuts for a high school senior. So that's kind of where I'm at. Ryan Day, I think, is in some form or fashion coaching for his job. If he would lose this game and they fall outside the top 12, I know they love him in Columbus, but I do see that scenario where they just don't bring him back for the 2025 season. Okay. Next, we're going to go down the list a little bit. We do have a few more games I will have plays in. Lean right now on Tennessee and Vanderbilt. It's kind of hard not to take 11 points with Vanderbilt. A lot of people think Tennessee is fake. I could see that being a thing. Vanderbilt is one of those teams that they're very hard to cover on, and we saw that kind of play out with the likes of Alabama, just to name one, and some other ones along the way. I know that South Carolina got the best of them, but I think that Vanderbilt may end up taking down Tennessee tonight or on Saturday at noon. A little bit of a money line play if you want to dive into Vanderbilt plus 330, but that's just kind of a long shot. More so just a lean towards Vandy plus 11, okay? Next game we will have a play in is Illinois and Northwestern. Now, why we're talking about this, and we are seeing the number being bet down from 9 to 7.5. So maybe that's due to weather, thinking that we may get a little bit more of an under. We do see that kind of correlate. But Illinois, I know they just edged out Rutgers. They did take care of business against Michigan State. Got destroyed by Oregon, but this is more so a fade of Northwestern, okay? I think Northwestern has quit. If Michigan was able to hang 50 on Northwestern, I suspect Illinois is going to be able to do the same thing. Ohio State was able to beat them 31-7, and if we can find a 7 in the market, and that's where I think you need to wait if this money is going to continue to flow in and the number's going to move. It's kind of weird that we're seeing the number fall from 9.5, down to 7.5, though, albeit all the money's on Illinois. So maybe a little bit of a public play here, and if you want to look into the sharp movement, it might be Northwestern, but I just think it's too much value in a play against Northwestern in their current state and frame of mind for that ball club, where we're going to be betting against Northwestern in every shape and form and fashion. Okay, Northwestern 4-7 on the season. I expect them to go to 4-8 against Illinois, which is still ranked inside the top 25. So Illinois goes to 9-3 and looks to solidify a better bowl game for them in the postseason. That's where we're going to take Illinois. I'm going to wait and see if I get a 7. If not, you could take a juiced up one right now, but I think that there is a chance we do get a juiced up 7 that does find its way into the market. So like I said, guys, fading against Northwestern. Defense stinks. I think they're really just giving up and really putting up that white flag. And with the last game of the season on the line, I just think Illinois rolls. Okay. Next, let's talk about it. Let's go down the list a little bit. The next game that we are going to dive into is Notre Dame and USC. 3:30 kickoff. This is going to be a great one. I was kind of thinking this would be a little bit later. And I'm kind of weirded out by this because I did think it was an 8 o'clock kickoff, but I may be wrong. Anyways, Notre Dame comes into this matchup, 7.5 point favorites. They have been an outstanding ball club after that loss to Northern Illinois, covering as well. Okay, 8-2 against the spread. USC, I think, is a horrible matchup. They are kind of rolling out a more dual threat quarterback, a new face to go against Notre Dame, but they're still 6-5, and they're 6-5 for a reason. So I think Notre Dame runs the football with efficiency. They know they need a win to get in 100%. So I think that the Fighting Irish take care of business. USC almost lost to UCLA. Quite frankly, should have lost to Nebraska, lost to Washington, and lost to Maryland. A couple ugly losses, too. So I do think that Notre Dame rolls. They will be a very popular teaser leg, too. If you do tease college football, I will be taking the Fighting Irish down to almost a pick-em where we just need them to win by a field goal. That's one of my best bets for the game, for the day as well. The style and brand of football Notre Dame plays and possesses with that offensive line growing up in real time, like I talked about a little bit earlier, I think this one might be a little bit of a blowout kind of game where Notre Dame wins by double digits and goes over the total of 50 as well. They've won 90% of their games by double digits or more. So I do like the Fighting Irish quite a bit in this matchup and find their way into the possibly even the top 4 of the AP, not necessarily the playoff format because they can't technically because of that conference affiliation or lack thereof, I should say. But Notre Dame rolls in the spot against the Trojans. Okay. Next, the Iron Bowl, a little bit of a lean towards Auburn, fading Alabama, plus 11.5. I just don't like the way Alabama's playing football right now. We look at kind of Kalen DeBoer and his unfamiliarity to this rivalry. The game will be played in Alabama, in Tuscaloosa, so that's something that we have to go against. But the overwhelmingly support is on the Auburn Tigers here as we look at kind of the betting splits. Right now it's early on, so it hasn't really taken shape, but a lot of the money is on the over. So this would be a play for me in the over in the Iron Bowl. Lean towards 11.5, but I am going to be on the over 52 for Auburn and Alabama. So over 52 will be my best bet, but I do have a lean towards the Tigers plus 11.5. Okay. Next, let's get down it. Talk a little bit about SMU very briefly. I think SMU rolls, Cal. This is just kind of where I'm at in that game. SMU's playing good football. They need a win to get in, and they may even have to win with some authority. So look for SMU to run up the scoreboard in that matchup. Okay. Florida and Florida State, kind of similar argument we could make with Northwestern and Illinois. I think the Seminoles have given up. They have been playing abysmal football. I'm going to be all over the Florida Gators, who have really kind of solidified Billy Napier's tenure in Florida. He's been playing great football and really continuing that argument that he is changing that style, that culture, and who they're running against in terms of the quarterback position, clear-cut advantage for the Gators here in this spot. Outside of being a rivalry game, I can't make an argument that Florida does not absolutely blow out Florida State. So I think they win in all three phases, and this one gets ugly. So I do have a lean. I just don't like the number at 14, but this would be a very strong lean towards the Gators in this matchup. Okay. Next, I am going to get down into the Texas A&M game. That's one that I do think is reputable. Lean towards A&M with the points. I like all the dogs pretty much except for Michigan, but I am going to have a strong play on the over 49. That's kind of where I'm at as we look into Texas and Texas A&M. I'm going to be betting the over 49 and a lean towards Texas A&M. I think Texas showed some vulnerability on defense going against Kentucky. That number kind of rose. It was a defensive slugfest and then got out of control. But Texas is going to be able to score. I think Mike Elko's team playing at College Station is going to be able to tame Texas A&M. But I think that we do get some points and Texas gets on the board. So I do like the over 49 quite a bit in that matchup. Okay, and then as we get a little further down, I think that might be it. So that is the last game that we're going to talk about on this rivalry weekend. Purdue, Indiana doesn't really entertain me too much because I think Indiana is on the outside looking in to get into the postseason. But I do think there is a same kind of narrative where if you do like the Hoosiers, they are going to blow out Purdue. And I think, in my opinion, they're going to run it up quite a bit, especially after that loss against Ohio State. Just kind of, I don't know if it's going to do too much, but I think that Indiana does run up the score. So that'd probably be the last game I touch on. Okay, so that's about it. Good luck out there. If you haven't done so, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to this video. Appreciate you guys all tuning in. I know this was a little bit longer of a video, but I wanted to talk about each game. I know we didn't go too in depth, but to cover every single game we have Friday, Saturday, and the Tulane game that we have on Thursday, I felt relevant to kind of make one long video. I probably will touch upon the Ohio State-Michigan game tomorrow and make a dedicated video where we go into the stats and some of the past performances as well. But I appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you subscribe, like I said. Also, please give me a follow on X. The handle is in the bottom left of your screen. Good luck with your picks, and we'll see you all in the next video. Cheers.